Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching John Wick. I had never watched John Wick. I mean, I know it's I know it's an action movie. I know Keanu Reeves is in it. I know some of the basic stuff about it. I never fully watched it. I never understood how this became like a franchise or like why it kept on going for so long. So I was just like, you know what? I've never seen it. Let's give it a shot. And and it's not like the I got taken out of the movie. It's more so like I had the background knowledge of like, well, there's a John Wick 2, 3, he's gonna live because there's always another thing, They don't keep on calling it John Wick if he dies, you know what I'm saying? So I already had like the idea of like, all right, he's gonna survive, but like how and who, what sacrifices will he have to make, or what kind of battles will he face in this one? So right off the bat, we see a broken down John Wick, and it's more so like, okay, well, he's dealing with loss. He's dealing with loss. He's grieving. He's in a sad point. He's suffering. He's had a big loss in his life, and we just kind of see a basic idea of what his day-to-day life is like now that he's practically alone. He's by himself, you know what I mean? And we see kind of like his nice house, nice car, he just lives like a everyday regular guy, you would never suspect anything different about him. You would never be like, oh snap, like he's like you want to look at him and you would think he like works in business, you would think he's just like a stockbroker or something, you wouldn't think of him as some sort of killing machine, right? But essentially his wife died. His wife died, and now he's kind of like because she got sick. I think it was cancer, right? I think it was like a form of cancer, but she died, right? And we never really get to see the relationship all that much, except for like some videos and maybe like a few flashbacks of him like taking care of her. And not that I'm unsympathetic to like love, or like he can't love his wife, or they can't like express it in a flashback. It's more of like I wish I had more time to really bond and care about the relationship instead of like seeing just like a couple of flashbacks or like some small scenes between the two of them. Like it always feels like these kind of guys who in a way are like the baddest of the badasses always find love so easily and quickly, and they never like, it just never comes across as like a relationship. It just feels really quick, and like you have to immediately force the attraction, or you have to like, okay, I believe that these two are together. It's like it took me out of it for a bit. I like I like romance, I just wish they showed a little bit more of like their connection or their kind of like story or whatnot, you know what I mean? And I feel that way with most action movies that try to like portray romance between like the guy and then like his normal girlfriend or wife or whoever, right? But it ends up just being like oh, they hug and they kiss and they look at the beach and they're just like, they were so happy together. It's like, I didn't even see them make any jokes. Like, they don't really have that connection. So it was just kind of like, all right, she's dead. He's grieving. I get it. And dude, eventually he goes out for a drive. He goes out for a drive in his 1969 Mustang. Very nice car. But he goes to the drive-thru. He goes to the gas station and he drives his car there. And in the most cliche way possible, these Russian guys start blasting this like hip hop Russian music or whatever. And One of them is like a young guy, and he's just basically talking to John Wick, and he's just like, "Man, I love your car, cool car. How much for it?" And he's like, "It's not for sale." And he's like, he speaks in Russian, and then John Wick speaks back to him in Russian, and then he drives off. And so, what is this? This guy does what any natural human being does when you want something, right? You locate, find, and attack this person. You know what I mean? And on that same day, or, maybe like a week, I don't know how long, they don't establish a timeline, but it's pretty quick. Like, let's say like a day or two. John Wick got a dog from his dead wife who was like, "I'm dying. I know it. I've come to peace with it. But I know you're going through it right now. You need something to love. Here's a puppy." And it's a cute dog. Very cute dog. And John Wick is just trying to like adjust to this dog, like figure it out. He's just so used to being on his own. He doesn't like, I mean, not that he doesn't like puppies or he doesn't like the dog. It's more of like the puppy just changes everything, in a way that he wasn't expecting or he didn't really want. But anyways, they come in to his home, these people, just for the car. For the car and the car alone. They come into his home and they break in. And not only do they break in and the guy takes his car, he steals his car, they beat him up, and then they kill the puppy, the dog. Now, listen, that's, all right, the animal abuse is cruel. It's wrong. It's evil what these, dude, the puppy was so adorable, so cute. It wasn't even like really attacking them or biting them. And even if it was, they could just easily like shove it off or put it in a cage, right? Or block it off. It's not like a big dog. But they kill the dog, put it right next to him, and then they leave John Wick alive. Do you understand how dumb that is? Not only that, I wish we had a little bit more time with the puppy. I wish we had more time with the dog. I wish we kind of saw it grow up a bit. You know what I mean? It's like day 2 of him having this puppy. And it's just like, it's so sad, bro. The puppy barely got there. It's just, it's cruel. It's cruel. And they leave John Wick alive. They leave him alive. There's no, I mean, for someone as, highly skilled as John Wick, first of all, to just get jumped, right off the bat. I think, he definitely should have thrown some hands, but at the end of the day, he got jumped, beat up, his car stolen, his dog got killed, and his wife is dead. So, he's at a low point. And so we're very, in like the first, I don't know how long this took in the story. It was like, let's just say like 15 minutes. So the first 15 minutes, we see John Wick at the lowest point of his life. But then we kind of so the person who robbed him or took his car, killed the dog and beat him up, left him alive, whatever. His dad is a very powerful person who hired John Wick before, yada, yada, yada. And they're essentially the bad guys of the whole movie. So it's these Russian guys just being evil people for whatever reason, right? So then we see they essentially find out whose car he stole, what he actually did, and who he did it to. And because it was all of that combined, it was more so like, with all of that combined, they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're such an idiot. That's John Wick. Do you understand?" And then they call him Baba Yaga. I mean, it's so, I mean, I've only heard about it through other movies and whatnot, but like as a joke, nothing serious, but they make it sound so serious. It's just like, I had to laugh. I was just like, oh my goodness. So long story short, John Wick is on a mission now to get revenge for the person who killed his dog, who stole his car, who left him beaten and broken down. So it was like, kind of a metaphorical beating. You know what I mean? He's already emotionally broken down, defeated, but then he's physically beaten, and he has the things that he loves and kind of cares for taken away from him as well. So now it's all by his lonesome, and now it's time to kick ass. So the fight scenes in this movie were great. You know, I'm not gonna say they were. I'm not gonna be. You know, I guess they're like a product of their time, right? But they still look good. They were pretty they were pretty fight, I don't want to say coordinated, but like the fight choreography sometimes is kind of, they make it look good, but it's like kind of hidden, or like they put like a stuntman in there, so it kind of feels like it's a real fight, but it's not. It's like they put some sort of like movie magic in it to make it look like they're fighting, but it's not really them, whatever. But yeah, the fight scenes were great, whatever. And the gun scenes, all of the shooting and the violence, I love it. It's crazy. It was crazy. Good stuff, good work. So because John Wick is coming for the kid, the real bad guy's father, his son, he puts a hit on John Wick, and John Wick is now fighting for his life and going after him, and he essentially gets ready to kill. He puts on a suit, and he gets a couple of guns, and he kills people. So they invade his home again, but he's prepared for them, and he kills them, and now he's just on a hunt for this kid. Now he has to go find him. And while he's on the hunt, he kind of knows some of the people who are like working for the guy that's trying to kill him, because he used to also work for him. So there's some sort of like acquaintanceship, some sort of like friendly knowing between people. And he lets like one guy go, which is like rare, but he lets him go, and he gets in, and he finds the kid, but the guy gets away, and now it's a whole thing. It's him trying to escape, John Wick going after him, and it's a back and forth, protect him, hide him, so that John Wick can't find him, and then he hires assassins to go after him, and yada yada yada. And it's a big fight till the end. So John Wick is going to make it till the end, until he kills that kid, until he kills that person who did him like that. So there's this other point where there's a hotel, and it's a special hotel for assassins. You go in there, and there's specific rules that come with being in that hotel. So let's say you go to a random hotel, right? And kind of like and let's say one of the rules at the hotel is, you know what? You can sleep in the bed, mess up the comforter, blankets, whatever, right? The pillows can be the bed can be all messed up. You could leave crumbs on the floor. You could leave it a whole mess, right? But when it comes to like maybe bath towels, the bath towels have to be folded and put away neatly. Like that's the only rule, right, of the hotel. Not in this movie, but I'm saying like as an example, right? Like let's say that's a rule you have going into a hotel. If that's a rule and you break it, there are certain things that, they could kill you, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Same thing with this hotel. There are certain rules that they live by, and they have these coins as like a currency amongst themselves of assassins. And so nobody wants to break the rules in there. And if you do, well, it has to be for a good reason, or at least like a beneficial reason. And the most beneficial reason is money. So we kind of get introduced to like this world of killers and assassins through John Wick in this hotel, and we kind of figure out like John Wick's not the only badass in this whole thing. He's part of a organization, or he's part of a group of people who all are killers. So what we find out is that this guy, this Russian father or whatever of the kid, he's like, I have to hire these assassins to kill John Wick, and by doing so, he gonna die. He can trust him. And one of the hired assassins is Willem Dafoe. Shout out to Willem Dafoe, man. Dude, I had no idea he was in this movie. And I mean, he's like friends with John Wick. He was there at the funeral. They seem buddy with each other. But the guy hires him to kill John Wick, and he was like, "I'll pay you this amount of money to try to kill him. And can you do it?" And Willem Dafoe's like, "Yeah, of course I'll do it." He's like, whatever. So it was kind of, crazy to see that he could be so heartless with somebody who he considers a friend. But they're all killers. There's no friendships in this business, and I guess it is money. So whatever it takes. So John Wick is the primary target. Everybody's going after John Wick, and Willem Dafoe's not the only one he charges. He pays. Of course, he pays like his regular henchmen, but he also hires this woman in the hotel, living there, not living in the same room as John Wick, but living in the hotel with him. And he basically hires her, pays her, is going to pay her a lot of money to break the rules of the hotel to kill John Wick, which is like a big no-no, but she's getting paid, so she's fine with it. So this woman tries to kill John Wick. And you would think like John Wick would easily overpower her, but she's highly skilled. She's trained for this. She's a fighter. So she hangs in there, and she's pretty darn close to killing John Wick. She tries to get the jump on him, and Willem Dafoe shoots at him through like a sniper into the hotel, and he misses, and John Wick dodges it. He rolls out of bed, and that's where the fight between the two of them start. And then it becomes a back and forth of like Willem Dafoe trying to kill John Wick, this girl trying to kill John Wick. She keeps on getting in the way. John Wick is in the way, and it's like everybody's moving. So it's hard to be in a sniper position to get a clean shot at John Wick when he's in a big fight or whatever. But what we learn later on in the movie is that, Willem Dafoe's a homie. He wasn't trying to kill John Wick. As a matter of fact, he saves him later on. But it's Willem Dafoe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so used to him being like in an evil position, like for him to be like very loyal to John Wick, for them to have like a somewhat of a friendship sort of type of deal was really nice. It was pretty sweet. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was a nice little touching moment between the two of them. But unfortunately, because he didn't technically try to kill John Wick, there is a price to be paid for that. And that's the thing with these hired assassins, with these badass killers, is that there's only one way for them to really die, and that's a bloody death. You never hear of like a expert assassin dying in their sleep, right? It's always some sort of, they got stabbed in the neck with a knife, or they got shot 17 times, or they exploded by a grenade. It's never peaceful for them. It's always going to end up bloody for them. But that's what happens when you live that life. When you're a contract killer, when you're somebody who time and time again you've chosen to kill other people. You can only expect the reverse back at you. So it was upsetting. But there was a moment with Willem Dafoe where he's like about to die. He's getting like beat up, and I think Willem Dafoe, like his character wanted to die a certain way. Like he wanted to die he wanted to die in a blaze of glory, which is like action in his own way. He wants to die the way he wants to die, which is like, I guess, through a gun or like quick death or whatever. I don't know exactly what it was, but he wanted to die on his own terms. Whereas the bad guy was trying to just kill him and torture him and like mess him up, which he didn't want, or like to bleed out or whatever. So he essentially gets shot and dies a bloody death, but there's a certain for these kind of guys like John Wick, for Willem Dafoe, there's always going to be pain and struggle. Like, I don't know, dude. It's hard to see people like that be happy. Or like, if you do see them being happy, it just doesn't fit who they are all that well. It just kind of feels like they're pretending, or like silence is their happiness. Whereas like, I don't know, it just makes it feel like John Wick is more comfortable in the pain and struggle than he is in really peaceful times, because you don't see him really enjoy life. Like I think he has like one eating scene in the movie, and it's cereal. And now cereal is great. You know, there's nothing wrong with cereal, but I can't really explain the other kind of like, he didn't, you know, I don't know what he enjoys. There's nothing out there. He drives his car and that's about it. He shoots people, kills people. You know, that's got to be an adrenaline rush, but you know, it's not normal. It's not a normal way to live, is all I'll say. So it's just kind of like pain and struggle is all these guys know. So it's obviously the path that they lead down towards. And this whole movie is basically John Wick versus everybody else in the world. It feels like that. It's one man against the world, because he has so many people gunning for him, and he's trying to get a task done that's dangerous, where he could easily just walk away, or he could just be like so beaten down that he just just like, he didn't really know the puppy for that long. The car can easily be replaced. Like, what does it all really matter at the end of the day? But for him, it's love. For him, he's lost everything and anything he could have loved. He lost his wife, who he loved. He lost the puppy that he could have loved and cared for. You know, he could have found some sort of connection there. He could have found some sort of purpose, or some sort, the way he describes it is, he lost his chance to grieve over the woman that he loved and the way that he wanted to. And it was taken from him. And I can understand that. I feel like that makes complete sense. So throughout the whole movie, as we see him go to like the hotel and try to get like information on where the kid is and all this other stuff, we see people who like recognize him and know of him and understand his like reputation and whatnot, but they're unsure of why he's back, or they always question him and they say, "Are you back? You're back in the game? What's going on? Are you're back in this life again?" Because he got himself out of it. He got himself out of it, and he found a life. He found a wife. He chose happiness and love and romance. But, you know, once he loses it, once he experiences a little bit of, once he feels pain in his life, he turns back, you know, and he could obviously choose not to. But he chooses to, he chooses to get back in the game, essentially. He gets back in the game, and we see kind of like his choice of what happiness could be like for John Wick. And for him, you know, I feel for him there's no real chance for happiness at this point, you know. I don't know about John Wick 2. I haven't seen it, but like, there's no opportunity for John Wick to seek happiness. Like, it would be weird just to see him at a carnival. And doing what? Like, you know, and him going on another date with another woman is just, I don't know, there's just something about it that just like, at this point in time of what I've seen in the first movie, it just doesn't seem like, he doesn't seem all that witty. He doesn't seem all that funny either. He just kind of is a badass and silent, and that's it. You know, he has some kindness, in him. He feels love deeply, but I don't think we're up, and because I know that there's more movies after this, I just feel it's never going to be about being happy or finding happiness. It's going to be a continued cycle of violence where it never ends. So this movie, he kills people. Then the next movie, those people that he killed will come back for revenge to kill him again. And then he kills those people, and it just keeps on going. And if somebody kills John Wick, somebody's going to try to kill that person who killed John Wick. And it'll constantly continue over and over and over again. There's no end to the cycle. There's no breaking it. There's no happiness. There's no real joy. And I feel like for me, after I finish the movie, whenever you're watching John Wick, it's not so much, you can easily nitpick and make jokes and like kind of feel like it's just another action movie. There's nothing to it. But like for me, after I watched it, I was just like, I don't want to be John Wick. Like, as cool as he is and as like badass as he is to like protect, he's not protecting anything. He's chasing after. He's killing people that have disrespected him and any chance that he had to grieve. It's not like he's actually defending anybody or protecting anything. He's not defending his lost wife. He's getting revenge because he's upset that these people obviously did something horrible to him, and I understand that revenge. I understand that need for vengeance, or kind of like a definitive, hey, you did me wrong, I'm going to come back and get you kind of a feel. And I respect that to some point, but on another hand, it's just like, he's got nothing, he's fighting for what? Revenge is a one-way street, and it just, I don't know if that's, for me at least. And when you're watching it, just kind of have the idea of like, as cool as that stuff is, and as like, I would like those skills to help other people, to protect my family or whatnot, you know what I mean? Not so much for vengeance or revenge most of the time, but other people feel differently, and I can understand that. And maybe I'll be at a point one day where I feel like that, where I have to get revenge for it. Well, you know what? No. I completely understand the revenge. If somebody kills my family, I'm definitely going after them. But nobody killed his family. That's the thing. I mean, they killed the dog. I would, yeah. You get revenge for the dog. You get revenge for the dog. That's fine. That makes sense. But all I'm trying to say is that when you're watching it, just try to think in your mind, like, does John Wick ever, when does John Wick really ever enjoy just like a lemonade? You know what I mean? Does he ever really enjoy food? Or is it always just, what's next? What's the next mission at the end of the day? Which is kind of, it's lonely and it's sad and it sucks. But in the end, it's violence and it's cool. And it's a bunch of fight scenes and killing and blood, and it sells. It sells. So when you're watching John Wick, just think to yourself, this is cool. This is awesome. This fight scene is amazing, but do I really want to be, is this really something that you want? Do you want to suffer? Do you want to be in this constant cycle of violence? Or do you want to really be happy and find love again? Find somebody else. Find friends. Make friends. Do something different with your life. He could definitely be like I mean, at the very least, he could be an Uber driver. But, he could be a mechanic. He could fix cars and stuff. Like, that could be something cool, But at the end of the day, he chooses what he wants to. So I'm excited to see the rest of the movies. Some cool action scenes. Not a bad idea. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Go watch John Wick if you haven't. Watch the first one, because that's all I've seen right now. But yeah, go watch it. All right. And I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.